Hey, my name is Zion, and decided to do a short series on a garden I'm going to try and build in my backyard. Kind of long video. If we do a series, it's definitely not going to be that long. And oh yeah, this bark. That's like dang! Entire thing is also styled. Etho completely created this whole thing. I saw on his Let's Play and was like, this is great. I really don't know much about building, so I... Hey there, my name is Zion, and my channel is called Zedian. Zion's already a pretty rare name, but I think Zedian is probably more rare. Don't want to compete for too many names for the channel. But basically, this, not an episode, this video is just kind of going to explain like what the heck my channel is, because if you just look at what videos we have, it's mostly gardening, but there's a bunch of other stuff in it. So today we're going to do kind of a tour of everything that I do on my property. Of course, if you're new, this is pretty solely gardening channel, but it's gonna change as I get more stuff into it. We have a vegetable garden here, some extremely tall tomatoes there, cucumber vine, and a bunch of just annual plants. But we also have like a large passion fruit here, dragon fruit, and some trees. This is an avocado and a banana. And we do vegetables in this back here, and that's basically where I started the channel. I was like, I want to document like what I do every year, which is build a pretty massive garden in this area and kind of terraform the entire thing. So if you're new, go ahead and check out the backyard projects series that I have. There's like 23 episodes. It starts off with pretty bad film quality, but if you keep sticking through it, it gets better. It basically shows the creation of all this planting and farms. Right here in this fenced in area, this is the Centropic farm. There's a lot more to explain to that, but it's a completely different style of farming that uses perennial plants and some annuals, but basically we farm tropical plants here and stuff that grows in Brazil or dense rainforests, and we plant it very dense as well. It takes a lot of work. We're probably gonna have a greenhouse right here and at least some sort of shade covering in the future. Here on my roof we have the top of a fig tree right here, and this is where most of the figs get made, on these top branches here. Instead of pruning down there, we just left it grow here, and we're probably going to prune right here so that it grows over the roof, and we'll be able to harvest the figs that way. And up here, this is our massive passion fruit rooftop farm. It grows a couple hundred passion fruit a year. I think we only got 2 more years though before the plant dies, but basically we'll make this into a lot of different things. Smoothies, drinks, and stuff. Here's a topiary view of the vegetable garden. And we also do a lot of animals. Don't have much right now, quails, chicken, and we're gonna try and get some bunnies, some bees, and I'm not really sure what else. There are some fern pine trees, podocarpus trees, and I actually chop them down, and we use the wood every year, chop a bunch, and we use it to fuel this metal foundry right here, which I built using clay that I dug up over there. So there used to be a mine back there where the tomatoes are that I would dig up clay and bring it in. And right here we have kind of a Grant Thompson styled metal foundry. We used it to cook a bunch of catfish last night, so it's filled. But basically there's a pretty deep kind of hole right there, and 2 holes on the side. And basically I'll stick a steel pipe connected to a hairdryer, and basically that fuels the fire. We fill this up with charcoal or wood like you see right there. And it's actually pretty great. I've melted zinc, aluminum, I've red hot steel. I've been able to actually shape steel into like tools and stuff. Of course, all the stuff lower than that, like lead and tin and all those. But it's great. We've never done iron in it or copper, but we should be getting there soon. And there's probably going to be a bunch more videos on this if you're interested in fire or pyrotechnics and chemistry. We'll be doing some of that, some blacksmithing, and I hope to get some videos of the use of this forge because it's pretty amazing. So just of the extra stuff we have here, right now we only have one quail in this cage, but we're probably going to get more, and this thing makes 2 eggs a day. Those things you can actually sell for quite a bit, or you can, you know, give them to dogs, you can eat them. They're very fancy type of food. That's the chicken cage over there. We could probably fit a bunch more stuff in there, and we actually have sugar cane growing back there, which we'll process, turn into cane juice, or even actual sugar. And this right here is the rabbit cage that I built for free pretty much with a bunch of scrap wood I found in the alley. We have no rabbits in here yet. Haven't had time since I've been working with this vegetable farm and this tropic farm. But we'll probably get something in there soon because it's a waste of space right now. So if you can't already tell, I really like my backyard because it's kind of crazy. You never know what you're gonna find there, and I really like to just terraform it and change it. I've built 2 ponds right here. One was pretty decent, pretty large. You had hundreds of fish in there, just pretty much for like under $100. So we might have some fish stuff too. I saved the liners. There's one up there. There's actually a video of me cleaning it off. And then right here we do have a tank with, well, I'm just growing this duckweed stuff in it. We have 2 very large crawdads, and it looks like, I don't know how, but somehow there's fish in there. I did not put fish in there. I'm not sure how they got in there. But we might use this tank a little bit more once I get more time. Okay, that's enough for the backyard. You know, not everyone is a grower or, you know, just raising animals. And there's so much more stuff we're going to do on this channel than just in the backyard. And especially in the winter or when whatever fake school season starts, we're probably going to take a break from working on this. And there won't be too much left to do. So let's go inside. First I'll show you inside my garage here. There is quite a bit of junk, and you can see right here, this is all my fertilizers and pots and just all the stuff that I use for plants, but I'm also very into art. I wouldn't call these art. These are Bob Ross oil paintings. I've just been really getting into doing that, just trying to figure out how to paint, and I like to do all types of art. We have some very heavily abstract contemporary right here. This is a piece I did on Radiohead's How to Disappear Completely song, and we're going to incorporate a ton of music into this channel too, playing, creating, and just like my thoughts on different artists. So what's holding this up is a even larger contemporary piece that I'm working on right now, based on Julie Moretu's work, especially Cairo, which is just a massive contemporary piece I saw at the Broad Art Museum. But I like art, and pretty much I'm trying to do all styles of it. Like you can see here, we're going from something that's very like obvious what's going on in this picture to stuff that is open for any interpretations, but there all is meaning hidden behind it. And it's going to be a very large multimedia piece. We're going to have layer after layer, and on top, here's kind of like a color gradient chart for what it should look like on the top layer. Up here we have, this is a Yuri Tremler piece that I found in the alley, and I'm pretty sure it's real because there's paint peeling off of it. And apparently he used IKEA frames, and it says IKEA on the back. I'm not sure if it was just a picture sold there or if this is the real thing. But I'm interested in art like this as well, where it is you know, it's kind of abstract, but there are some things that you can notice in the scene going on, and it uses a lot of like color and kind of geometric shapes. So I'm working on trying to get into all styles of art. Right here you see my other drum set. We'll show the large fusion one inside. I am into music. We'll be having a bit of that. Here's my fishing poles. These are mostly my dad's. You'll see some videos of fishing that we're gonna have. And then there's a bunch of tools here. There's a bunch of scrap metal. When I was in middle school, I loved creating like random, like crazy inventions and just, you know, just using the engineering process in general. So I collected quite a bit of different types of scrap metal. We have a bunch of doorknobs in here. It's hard to see in these buckets. Oh, these are clean. We did have a bunch of just sheet metal, and then we had another one with a bunch of circuitry parts. So circuits, you know, I got into a little bit of like the electrical engineering where I would find a bunch of scrap circuits, desolder them for parts, and then build stuff like lasers and random stuff out of them. Never got too much into that, but I would like to bring that back into the channel because it's an interesting science, and I know there's not a lot of good tutorials on that out there. Yeah, but basically, we mostly use this for storage, but I did clear out something of a space here for art because really getting into that abstract stuff, and the sizes of these pieces that I'm into are just so massive, and just to fit all of your ideas onto one canvas, like you can't do it on there. You have to have something really big, so it really makes a statement. For this, let's go inside. We're gonna do my room last. That one's pretty interesting. It'll show a lot of cool, it'll be kind of like a spoiler for a bunch of videos and stuff we're gonna do, but we're gonna check out the kitchen first. Okay, so here's our kitchen. We got it redone last year. It used to look pretty bad. Fixed it up a bit, got some nicer countertops, but I guess you haven't seen that, so not too much to show, basic appliances and stuff, but I use this a lot for cooking. You may have seen, we had a few cooking videos, hoping to get some better ones, more innovative, and just, you know, sharing my techniques. The only real customizations we have here are my spice rack. Ever since I got into the next level, we just like had so many spices, so I actually put them in like an alphabetical order, just because it's so hard to find the stuff you're looking for when you're trying to make like a very specific dish. Right here you can see a bunch of stuff from our garden right now. We're getting heavy in the pink tomatoes, and we're about to do some pickling. So got some cucumbers, a little bit overripe, just a bunch of stuff. I think we have, yeah, and here we got a bunch more of the squash, some eggplant. That's a little bit young, but the most of interesting stuff that's going on right here, I'm trying to propagate all the like kind of herbs I would use when cooking, so I can grow them inside. We got mint here, some green onions here, basil right there, and we're all trying to do this for free. So speaking of free, you may have seen like I'm doing a free plants series, but basically if you're interested in getting free plants, cloning and stuff, we do that a lot here. Right here, this is my greenhouse until we get one over there. All of these are all different trees that I've gotten cuttings of from all over. You know, just in the park, you see a fruit tree you want, just get a cutting of it, and like this apple, I just saw an apple tree, got a small little twig from it, and it's already growing, and in a few years that'll be a free apple tree right there. For the Centropic farm, I'm getting some Albizia lebic trees right here, which are nitrogen fixing, and we'll just be getting tons more of those. This is a lychee, long story to that. Papaya's growing in here, and you know, just top of a pineapple I'm gonna try and grow on the farm. All right, in the living room here, there's not too much to show, but we have quite a few instruments. Quads, very important part. I'm in the Poly Marching Band right now, drumline captain. So we got a bunch of different stuff here. This is a bass drum right here. You put it on march quads, 5 drums. I got a pad here, and if any of you guys are interested in that, there will be a bunch of, hopefully some videos coming up of our new show. Not sure how much we'll be able to do, but you can social distance very easily out on the field. If you don't social distance, you'll probably crash and do a backflip or something. Right, here's the piano. We're probably gonna have to do in a combo band for jazz, and we're probably gonna do rehearsals here, if not in the garage. I don't know how we're gonna clear that out, but there's quite a bit of stuff in there. Right here, guitar. I mostly use this for classical, just if I want to learn a certain song, like I'm working on some West Montgomery right now, and those things are very difficult, using a lot of chords that I don't know. Bass right here, I'm much more familiar with this instrument since my main is drums. I don't play this too much, but sometimes when gig they need a backup bass player, and if it's really easy, I'll be able to do that. And we have a few more guitars back here, just a real cheap Squire right there. This is like a knockoff of a Jackson, I think, is it called, or something. And then we have an acoustic right here. And they don't get too much use, but I've been getting more into this instrument since I've been switching over to more learning music theory than just drums. Also ukulele right here. We just got a bunch of strings. Also, I forgot to mention out here, this is really a mess, but there are a bunch of scooters in here, and we have this I call the deck board, which is the most dangerous vehicle I've ever created. And basically, it's not a scooter, the handle taken off. It's a bit different. You got the front wheel locked in right here. There is no handle, but it's you can't like turn the wheel. The wheel doesn't like spin around. The way that you turn is actually by leaning. And basically, it's the most dangerous, hardest to balance on vehicle, and I can barely ride it 30 feet. But the goal is for us to actually be able to take this out and ride it downhill. And if you're interested in like kind of extreme sports and just tricks, we're probably gonna have some of that. More, not really like skateboard stuff, more like probably biking, parkour, free running. I do all that, rock climbing too, maybe some swimming and like flips and acrobatics and stuff. But rock climbing, once the gym's open, we'll definitely have that, and maybe some outdoor bouldering, as well as definitely some parkour videos. Okay, right here we have my room. It's a language I created. It's pretty simple language. Okay, right here we have my room, and there's quite a bit to cover in here, but this should tell you everything that you'll need to know about what's gonna come up in this channel. Alright, if you look here, you see the drum set, desk with a bunch of stuff on it. We got some Chicano inspired art right here. I'm trying to do all types of art, and just a bunch of junk right here. So well, let's start right here. So this desk, it changes all the time. If you see, we got a bunch of coins right here. This is about 1/10 of my massive coin collection. Did a bunch of that in middle school, and I got a couple $1,000s worth of silver, gold, tons of mostly American coins. Just trying to put together date sets, foreigns, tons of foreigns. You know, all the $50 bicentennial, and just tons of coins. So we'll probably have a little bit on that. I'm not into that too much right now. It's just kind of my life investment. But this entire desk used to be there used to be an extra room here. I built a small wall going around, like a temporary wall, and this was just covered in coins, which I could show you back here. Back here you can see these are my date sets, basically trying to get one coin, say nickels, every single date and mintage of that coin. And you know, this will be worth quite a bit eventually, and it'll be a large collection of US history. Right in here, these are kind of my special coins, the ones that, you know, you had to pay some money for. Foreign bills right here, a bunch of Chinese. I didn't get too much into the bills, so I'm getting more into that now since I run a student store at my school. So in here, this is all the good stuff. We have silver coins. You've got, like, look at this $1/2, 1861. And here's all, these are just like the expensive valuables. Silver, gold, Morgan dollars, tons of stuff, Indian head pennies. If you don't know anything about coins, you know, you should probably check them out because they are a good investment, and they can really, they're just interesting. But if you're not a nerd, you know, you can go ahead and skip this part. But basically what I would do for, like, just all day, I would take a $100 bill and just keep running around, going from bank to bank, buying out all their $50, searching for the silver, buying all the pennies, searching for the wheats, and we just keep going, return all the stuff that wasn't worth anything, and we'd keep all the valuables, all the rare stuff, fill up just so many rolls of, like, wheat pennies. I've had hundreds of wheat pennies, quite a few silver dimes. The silver quarters are much more rare, but just taking all that, and you just keep going from bank to bank and exchanging, giving them back. Say you found like $10 worth of rare stuff, you give them the 90 back, and they give you $90. Take that to another bank and just, you know, change it until all that 100 is $100 face value in just stuff, just rare coins that you can sell for much more at a you know, a coin auction, or just keep until you're old. So that was definitely an important part of my life. But you know, I'm pretty out of it. There's not much more that I'm working on. Just precious metal investing. So drum set. This is gonna be big. I live here. I pretty much, like, for a while I was getting 2 to 3 hours a day just on here. I'm not quite that disciplined anymore, but I do spend a lot of time practicing, or just jamming for fun, just playing to a bunch of different tunes. And basically, the reason that this set is so big, because I play jazz, And really, all you need is a 3-piece. You really don't need much more. It doesn't make you a better player. But I was working on some very complicated stuff. Birds of Fire Mahavishnu Orchestra. Their drummer, Billy Cobham, he's crazy, and I was trying to learn some of his solos, and so I had a bunch of extra toms from, you know, that other set, so just put them on there, because I really needed a bunch of tom range to do the actual solos, and since we're all quarantined, I don't have any gigs, I don't need to move this anywhere. I decided we'll just put all the stuff we have together. We got 2 rides, 2 hi-hats, which actually really comes in handy when you're doing fusion, where you want to be hitting some opens right there really quickly, and not too many crashes. I'm pretty low on that. This Splash is trash. Sabian, I really just use it as a snare or tom mute when I'm playing some other styles. Got this right here. That's 2 crimped in, like, dead hi-hats. Makes a cool sound. China right here. And double bass pedal down there. I'm just working on kind of replacing all these parts and getting them better. This I probably won't need a new ride cymbal. I love this Pace 2002 20-inch, and it's heavy, so it gets you a lot of bounce, and you can play really fast on it, and I love the bell. But yeah, enough of the drum stuff. I do play at Poly in, I think I'll be in Jazz A next year, Combo 1, so you can check out, there will probably be a bunch of videos for that on Catherine Farmer's channel, or some on my own channel. Alright, let's go. Right here is kind of the recording equipment my dad got that is meant to actually record, like, you know, these drums. We haven't figured it out yet. It's very complicated because it runs on this computer, which is just outdated. Like, look at this Mac. Look at how thick it is. And then if you see down here, that is the actual computer. So a Mac Mini fits probably like all of that and probably even better stuff into it. I don't really know too much about that kind of computer. I'm more of a Windows guy, but I've never gotten a computer. In fact, my entire channel is done on my iPhone right now. iPhone 8. It's got a decent camera, a lot of storage, and I use Video Shop, as you can probably tell, as my editing program, and it's pretty good. It gets the job done. But basically, we got all this to not only record the music, but I'm also working on producing my own cartoon right now. I got into animation, as I'm very into comics, and I decided might as well try and animate one. So we have mics, not sure where they are right now, recording mics, and we're working on using them, putting them into this software, but of course most of the time it takes us just drawing every frame, and the backgrounds, they take the longest to draw. So maybe I'll have a cartoon coming out this year, but since I'm so busy with everything else, I don't know if I'm gonna get that done. But this equipment, it can be used for tons of other things. We got a keyboard down here. This is a pretty cool one. I think it's got a jump pad down there and a bunch of other stuff on it, but haven't learned how to use all this since I'm working on the garden so much. Here, this was my iPad or my tablet collection. I've just gotten so many tablets, just finding them around my house. Be quiet, Ride. I don't even know what this one is, but I used to use this for Terraria, and I used this one to play on the Realm. This is a, what is this? This is the Amazon Fire tablet. I don't know why I got that. I guess it was pretty cheap. So right here, I want to show you this. This is one of the many ingots I've made on my forge. I don't know why I make these. It's just so fun. This is zinc. This is made out of pennies. Basically, we'd melt down all the pennies made after 1982, because that's when they switched to zinc. Scrape off all the bad stuff, the slag, and then just cast them into, like, this is like a cake pan or something. You can see it didn't do too well on that side, but it shapes really nicely, and it actually got an imprint, a backwards imprint of whatever was in the pan. Right here, I'm proud of this. This is a huge ingot of aluminum. Well, it's not that big, but it's very light. I cast this on the forge. Aluminum. That's I believe it's a 12,000 or no, 1,200 degree are needed to melt aluminum. And I also got a bunch of scrap aluminum that I bought. We might melt that down eventually. We might do some casting videos, some metalworking videos, and stuff like that, because it's a pretty cool thing. And chemistry is something I'm very much interested, as well of course biology. You probably don't want to see what's behind here because it's just a mess. This was back in my engineering days. I would collect parts, just tons of parts, build my own, I guess it's super battery, just tons of like random scrap metal and everything, and I just build stuff with it. You know, I like to keep things because when I need them, don't have to go out and buy them or just get them from somewhere else. And this is crazy. We might do a cleanup video sometime, organize all this stuff up. Down here is, before I got into more of a scientific form of chemistry, I would create my own potions, mixing stuff together and analyzing the reactions and colors and smells and just all the stuff that happened. Down here this is the rest of my Lego collection. Got a bunch of those when I was little, and we're definitely, I really hope we can do some mock builds or maybe some stop motion. Working on a book right now that I'm trying to publish, but I thought it'd be a great idea to try and make an animation of it. It's a very interesting story, and I think you guys would all like to watch an animation of it. But that's all if I have time, so I'm very busy. Let's take a look at the other side of the room. It's also a mess, but kind of more organized mess. Okay, so we'll start right here. This is probably the most important, the most time I've ever put into anything in this room or on this property, more than the garden. And basically these are my books. So school can be very boring, especially if you're in elementary or middle school. High school, eventually you just gotta pay attention. It's really hard to do this in high school. But yeah, I'm a writer and a cartoonist, and so I've created a bunch of books when I was little, and still working on them now. Haven't got them published yet because every time I try to publish something, I get another idea and I just start writing. I'll just show you a few right here. Like all this, every single page is filled. Not this one. That's not filled yet. This is the book I'm talking about. This is a very interesting story, which is basically just every prank I've ever created, all done at one time. And this is a novel. This is something I'm working on publishing. I think most people would be very interested. And then this right here, I just gotta say it. This is my Mike and Bill comics series, and they're basically graphic novels. They used to be some short, really dumb episodes back when I was little, working on them. But like here, this is like an actually interesting story. The plot's gone for, I think we're at 47 episodes with a bunch of side random comics. And basically, this is about two birds. That's Mike and that's Bill. And they go on adventures and they blow stuff up and they use pretty much every weapon you can think of and get into insane battles against evil. And I did not create the characters Mike and Bill. That is my friend Tobias. His channel link will be in the description. He doesn't really film stuff, but he's into robotics and coding very heavily. And if you're interested in that at all, you should check it out. But basically, we worked on these books, and we made a couple hundred of them probably in elementary school. And I've continued it over many years, but I'm kind of getting out of that and more into writing and deeper quality graphic novels. So I realized there's not much I can show you. Like, I can't really make videos of these, but if you ever are interested, I could do a video of reading one of my old, maybe some good stuff like this. But if you are interested, I could read some of my old stuff, because it can be pretty funny and pretty dumb. But there's not really too much I could do with that. But I am working on publishing this book, like I said, so maybe you can read that in a year or something. Right here, so basically the way I organize these is Mike and Bill's up here. The fold books, I call them, which are just this size, just standard piece of paper folded in half. They go on this side, and then down here are just the full stuff. And some of this is really good. So if you take a look through here, this is one I'm kind of working on currently. It's called Lucid, and it is based on Inception, quite a bit different. Inception kind of with hard boils, kind of a cyberpunk society, and you can see this takes forever to do. I believe all coloring should be done on a computer, but I was like, I don't have a computer, so screw it, I'll just do it by a colored pencil. And yeah, it takes forever to do this stuff. Right here, this is behind that, this is a series that I made, trying to make a knockoff of Marvel, kind of my own version of it. Con Man, this is one of the main characters, and we have Sky Soar, kind of a knockoff of Superman, but mainly it was just for me to get better at drawing and just this style of comics. You see, I have a huge comics collection over here. We got Daredevil, Spider-Man, tons of old stuff, tons of pretty cool, random comics. And this was kind of my take on it. Sorry, I switched the phone size. Okay, that's better. Also, this is This is called Sid and Jake. It's kind of a knockoff of Calvin and Hobbes mixed with Garfield. That's kind of the drawing style. And Phineas and Ferb. Mostly Phineas and Ferb. My favorite, well, not quite my favorite, but one of my favorite cartoons. And this was just an experiment with trying to draw like newspaper-style comic strips. I tried to make one a day, and as you can tell, that's really hard to do. Like, it's extremely hard. Like, I think I stopped right here. Yeah, that's all I got. I did make a few books where I did it for a few months straight, just trying to just keep up. But basically, there was a story with Sid and Jake that I wanted to animate where they basically go on a road trip. A bunch of fun stuff happens. But I decided that was a bit complicated, so I just started animating just the daily strips, and this is what all this is for. That's what I'm working on animating right now, and it's a long process. You got to draw just so much, and it just takes. I'm basically trying to do what takes like a team of 20 to 100 people, like a week, like a few weeks to a month to do. So it's really a lot of work. I don't think it's possible for one person to do to animate an entire cartoon themselves, even if it's only like 10 minutes, which is probably going to be like 5 minutes at this rate. Anyways, as you can tell, there's a lifetime worth of stories right here, and I'm not going to share it because, you know, that's kind of boring and there's just going to be too much. Right here, this is my book collection, but pretty much they're mostly comics. Just a bunch of stuff from when I was in elementary school and middle school. Captain Underpants, the Treehouse books by Andy Griffiths and Terry Denton. Tons of Garfield right here. I love the old ones where they have this book with like 3 different books combined, and I just read that when I'm bored, but I don't get bored much because I'm so busy. Down there is Tintin, which is great. The Dogman books, which, you know, I've been taking an interest into these because they're based on all classic literature that I've been reading in school, and I'm trying to see how they put that into a comic made for a kid, which is kind of what I'm hoping to do with my life, is be a writer, a children's author. And then a bunch of random stuff down here, a bunch of school notebooks filled with random stuff. If you look right here, we got swords. So I am a sword collector and a sword maker, and that's kind of what the forge was for. Let's see if I have any homemades on me. I made this handle. I didn't make the blade. Down here we go. Training sword. So I'd make these training swords out of pipes, steel pipes, cut them in half, smash them down flat, which took hours, and then cut off the tip there, sharpened it up. And now I've learned that I can stick these in the forge and sharpen them until they're basically like real swords. I don't know how to do that yet, but I know it's possible since I made my own karambit out of scissors with that. I don't know where that is. I'll try to find that. Basically, yeah, I made probably like 10 to 15 of those. And they're great for training because they're the same weight and shape and size of a sword, but they're not really dangerous because they're just so dull. They're more like a baseball bat, so we use those for just training, messing around, maybe fight choreography. Like, I also like to create movies. My friend Elijah, I'll link his channel too. He's much more into that, and he wants to be a director someday, and he's been working on some scripts, a bunch of stuff, and you'll probably see some films. If you saw in that intro trailer, we had some running around with BB guns. Yeah, that was an action film that I directed, and I know it's pretty trash, but we'll have some better stuff coming your way, hopefully. So right here, this is some sketch work I've done. I did not create, I did draw this, but I didn't create the art. This is by Mouse Lopez. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's his name. And he creates Chicano art that's pretty cool. So I saw it and I was like, might as well try to create my own. It looks very detailed, looks like a challenge. And so sometimes when I just see random stuff, I try to draw it. And then right here, this is the coolest thing ever. This is, I guess it doesn't really mean anything to you, but this is kind of a portrait of every character that I've ever created, and there's thousands. There are just so many. And yeah, I really hope to publish someday, so some of these guys can be read. This would make a lot more sense to my middle school friends because I used to write these in middle school, and then we'd pass them around, and some people would take, like, this book has been taken home quite a few times to other people's houses, and they've read it, and you can see by how torn up it is. Just so many people have read that. And then down here, this is kind of a list of every decent book I've written. Some of them are not too good anymore by my standards, but it's kind of like a library catalog just because there's just so much. I can't really do anything with it. Right here, I just want to say this. This is my favorite book right here. Yes, it's a comic, Into the Volcano by Don Wood. It's just got the best art and the best story, so check that out. It's really good, and it kind of will explain some of the stuff that I'm interested in, like hiking and tropical places. Okay, over here, you know, this is probably kind of weird, but this is my dream journals. Basically, I get pretty out of practice, but I kind of have a dream season where basically it's kind of around the school season for me, September through June. Basically, every night I write and illustrate my dreams. And what this does, you watch How to Lucid, you'll understand this, that basically, like, dreams are really important and they're cool because what you can do with them is, you can if you have a lucid dream, you can control everything in that dream, and that's really fun. And the main reason I did this was because I had to wake up early for school, and I like to have a lot of sleep and be able to go on an adventure in my dream, do whatever I want, before I had to get up and go to school. So I started working on that, and that improves how more likely you are to have a lucid dream. It also improves dream recall, which is just cool because, you know, gives me ideas for stories. It shows what a fun time you're having every night, and you kind of have much more vivid dreams, which is great, and much longer ones. And there's not much you can do, like I can do to explain what's going on, but if you check out How to Lucid, he's made a whole channel just talking about his dreams and giving tips and tricks for how to have lucid dreams, and just a bunch of cool stuff on that. And it's a very cool world. Inception, that's my favorite movie. They didn't get everything right, but you should check that out. It's kind of hard to explain. It's a Christopher Nolan, very complex, many layers of plots. Anyways, that's a pretty big part, because you know, everyone dreams, and you say you're getting 8 hours of sleep every day. That's like almost half your life is asleep. So, well, probably more like a quarter of your life, third of your life is asleep. Sorry, we haven't done math in a while. Third of your life asleep. You want to be doing something productive in your time, and if you actually work on skills like, just like if you work on skills like drawing, I've written books in my dreams. You get like better at that if you practice like running or acrobatics. It's not going to improve your muscle strength, but it will improve your muscle memory, and that's very important because your brain does a lot of stuff, and if you can be training it every night, then you're not really losing any time at all. Anyways, enough about dreams. I could make a whole channel on that, but let's move on. Okay, right here. So this is my element collection, and I'm getting more into chemistry because it was the 4th of July last night? No, night before or something. Everyone was having fireworks, and I didn't have anything. I just had a bunch of magnesium and some random chemicals, so I made some fun little sparklers with that, some very dangerous stuff. But I want more of a bang. I want to make some smoke flares and stuff. So I've been getting back into chemistry, and I hope I'll be able to show you some of that. It's kind of hard to film though, because like you can't even catch how hot the fire is because the camera, like it just won't show you. But right here is where I try to collect one of all of the elements, and you can tell that's very hard to do. It's a long scavenger hunt, like boron. Where am I supposed to get that? Luckily, I did it with my friend Tobias, and he helped me out with some of them. We worked out, helped each other. And then also, I have some sodium metabisulfate. This is for metal extraction, like refining metal from, maybe you have a bunch of scrap jewelry or silver or something, and you want to, you know, melt it down and cast it. I don't think we can do that in my forge, but if I get an induction smeltery, we will do that. Bunch of random stuff right here. Sodium bicarbonate, you know, hydrogen carbonate. Nitric acid right here for gold and silver testing, and just a bunch of random stuff around here. So you can tell I'm very interested in the sciences. Physics, I'm not really that interested anymore. I used to be into that, but biology is where it's at really, because like food, people, living things, and chemistry, that's probably the most important. But you know, we need to progress with technology. So It's good to have that. Okay, I realized I never showed the from in the Palos Verdes hike. Also, I love edible plant identification. I studied to be a survivalist, basically be able to survive in the wilderness for a year. I studied that for about 3 years. Never actually got to do it because that's just crazy and unrealistic. But I took a lot of skills back with me, so I'm very into edible plants studying and just studying that kind of stuff. And that's why I got into blacksmithing. Here are some of the crystals that we got back from that Palo Verdes hike. And this kind of shows into my geology side. I would be extremely into geology, and I really am, but I just don't have enough space for a tagged rock collection. I tried to make one right here, and I would just have like all the rocks in my collection, all tagged by their name, whatever mineral they are, the stuff they contain. But, you know, then we got all this stuff in here. It's really hard to have without having a lot of space, but I still am very interested in geology and the minerals because it has a lot to do with chemistry, and there you go. You're back at biology. So anyways, here's some of the crystals we extracted. We got some giant ones too, but they're not as fine. The clearest ones, I tried to shape them. Like look at how clear that is. I tried to shape them into like diamonds and stuff. Some worked, and then I would give them to people as presents, and I don't know, they actually liked it, I think. But that's kind of the Neil Caffrey side of me, forging gems. If you've ever seen White Collar, that's one of my favorite shows. I get inspired a lot by that to do art and to try to forge art pieces, and that's kind of why I'm doing like all that. That's forged. That's totally a copy of something. Like I have a bunch of art pieces where I've just tried to copy and forge them. Okay, I think that's it. Right there, TV I got kind of for free. I tried to do the paperclip trading up thing, and I got all the way to a 52-inch flat screen, which was broken a little bit. It had some vertical lines on it. So I did get into that kind of electronic part, the TV repair, and collecting electronics, as you can tell. But I ended up with this nice 26-inch, fixed it up, and it actually works, but I need a VGA cable to actually get picture on there, and I do. It works, but I don't really watch TV much, so don't use that. But if you're interested, we probably will be doing some kind of electronic videos like that. So yeah, I think that's it. The most things that we're gonna have in this channel are music, of course, gardening, and we'll probably have some other kind of outdoor stuff. All this other random stuff, I just wanted to show you because, you know, that's who I am, and it'll probably become a part of this channel eventually. But mainly what it will be, it's still a garden channel, but it's gonna kind of branch into the other sciences, the chemistry, and just pure creation. So yeah, this video is really long. I hope you stuck to the end, but you don't have to. You'll see all the other stuff. You'll see what comes up in the other videos. Okay, this is the one time I'm gonna ask for subscribers. Please subscribe. You know, if you're not interested in gardening, you're probably interested in something else that I'm doing here. I don't like to ask for subscribers because I want people to subscribe because they're actually interested and not just trying to help me out. But seriously, I'm sure there's something that I'm doing here that you're interested in. This is not a company. I'm kind of just trying to express my interest and just kind of get documentation of all the cool stuff that I like to do on the property. And that's what it all started with, was just creating that garden. I just wanted to show it. I didn't think we'd get 50, and it's really not much to brag about, but you know, there are probably some people who are actually interested watching this, and they're learning some useful stuff from it. So anyways, thanks for watching this. There's going to be tons more videos coming out this summer. I'm going to try to do them, probably get a few out every week, just with the plants and hopefully moving into my other interests. But once school starts, I don't know how it's going to be, but I hope I can keep you guys entertained with maybe stuff in the greenhouse and all the other things. Alright, bye. Please subscribe.